I still cannot get over the fact that Noragami is coming out every Friday. So glad to have it back. So anyways, with this episode of Noragami Season 2, Episode 2, we dive headfirst into a new arc. And soon as I saw that tree, I remembered the OVA I watched. And I'm like, fuck, really? So, I don't know how many of you have watched the OVA, but I watched it because when Noragami didn't have a Season 2, I didn't think it was ever going to have a Season 2, so I just watched the OVA, and that's where it went from there. So, now thinking about the OVA, and then thinking about the location, where that OVA takes place, to where this episode was, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was spoiled. I was spoiled in that OVA. Like, oh my god, that OVA spoiled the shit out of the outcome of some of the things. Like, holy fuck. So, I'm just gonna say right now, if you're an anime only, and you have yet to see that OVA, do not watch that OVA. Do not watch that OVA, at the very least, until this arc is done, because, yeah. Okay, so, I want to get off of that. The main point of this episode was introducing the plot of this arc. This arc we're getting into is going to be focused around Bishamon and her Regulus. And the main point of this is that we're starting to find out the outcome of what happens if you have too many Regulus. If you have too many, what happens to the god? And that's kind of what is starting to happen to Bishamon. She's having to take a lot of medication, she's getting blighted, and I mean, it's getting worse and worse as the days go on, and after the aftermath of this episode with Kazuma and how some of the Regulus are not probably going to trust him as much as they did, they're probably going to start blighting Bishamon, and it's going to get a lot worse to where she won't be able to fight, and most likely the way it's going, especially with what happened to the boy in this episode and what happened with Yukine, I feel like Bishamon is going to be pinned up against Yato because of the death of the Regula, and it's probably going to put Yukine in a spot to where he won't have a friend, and it'll just make the entire issue where Bishamon will get worse. She'll get blighted, and she'll have like a similar issue as Yato in the last season of Noragami. We have it to where Hiyori, she's starting to get the main focus, and we're starting to get a better, I guess, perspective of why Yato is not wanting to fix Hiyori so fast. Now, we kind of all knew this. It's kind of already there. We were kind of told in the first season, but it was never really brought up to the front and never really mentioned and gone into. But Yato's starting to realize, and then Yukine, and then Hiyori, she's the one that's kind of oblivious right now. But when she does find out, I think that's going to cause some form of major plot point for an upcoming arc. And I mean, if you think about it, the final arc of Season 1 did focus around, Hiyori forgetting. I remember that filler arc, and if you think about it, some of those events that happened in that arc do play with, the way this is turning out right here, with Hiyori, if she forgets, that would mean that maybe Yato won't be as strong and maybe he might disappear, because that's kind of what is going on here. Yato doesn't want Hiyori to forget him because he has a chance of just going away, and Yukine doesn't want to be forgotten as well because he wants to have a friend. He loves Hiyori as like an older sister, and he doesn't want to see like his older sister just disappear like that and forget about it. I mean, how heartbreaking would that be? I mean, you know this person, you talk to him in the span of months to half a year or even a couple years, and it doesn't matter how long you know a person. It depends on how you connect and relate with the person. And if you connect and relate with a person, you can look at them as if like an older brother, older sister, or some form of family member, then you know you're connected with this person. If this person was to, let's say, just get amnesia or forget about you, that's a heartbreaking scene. It really is heartbreaking. So if you had to deal with something like that, if you had this connection with someone and all of a sudden they just couldn't remember you, and no matter what they did, they just forgot about you, you'd probably not want that to happen. And that's kind of the situation that Yukine is currently in. He doesn't want that to happen. And so if Hiyori gets fixed, it might cause it to where she will forget them, and we know where that's going, so GG. So yeah, I mean, Noragami, it brought up two main points. One of the points is Bishamon is starting to get blighted. She's in a bad situation where her Regulas are starting to cause issues for her. And then it might cause it to where Yato and Bishamon have a fight. And then you have it to where we find out the promise at the tree. That's been 30 years, the boy died. And damn, he got killed off quite fast. Holy fuck. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, that OVA explains a lot. So yeah. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you all feel about this week's episode of Noragami? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.